I'm trying to accept your thing. It accept. I don't know why it won't. Oh yeah, there you are.
Hi.
Okay, good. At last you're here.
Hi, good morning, Dr. Deepa. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. I hope you can hear me too.
Your sound has just dropped for some reason. I don't know why. It was perfect when you were on just now, but now you've dropped slightly. I don't know if anyone else can sense that, if it's just me.
I can hear you well. I'm hoping you can hear me too. Can you hear me at
Okay,
all?
that's a bit better. That's a bit better. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Okay, probably it might just take a tiny bit time to adjust. I'll continue talking if you tell me if you can hear me or not.
That's coming through fine. That's
Okay,
coming through fine.
okay,
Yeah.
good, good.
Okay.
Okay,
So thank you very
well,
much,
yeah.
first of all, for joining us, and thank you for everyone that's joined us today. This live is something that I have been manifesting for a while now, and I'll tell you why. It's because I get asked so much about my hair care routine, and I couldn't do it justice without shedding a spotlight on Dr. Deepa's products that I have been using for so many years, that I've grown to love, and I've also recommended to my clients, my friends, my family. So I'm so glad that we've been given this opportunity to come together and do this. So before we go ahead, I don't think Dr. Deepa needs any introduction, to be honest. But for those of you that are new to Ayurveda, Dr. Deepa is a powerhouse of knowledge and tradition.
Thank you.
She's a medical doctor. She's a certified yoga teacher. She's a renowned Ayurvedic practitioner. And your work, it beautifully bridges modern medicine with ancient Ayurveda. And I think that's the jewel there. She lectures across the UK and Germany, training wellness professionals globally, and currently practice in London. So once again, so humbled to be sharing this space with you, Dr. Deepa. Thank you so much for joining.
No, thank you. When we had a chat last time, and when you suggested you thought about doing something together as a collaboration or a live chat, this was a perfect thing. So I'm happy that we are here together talking.
I'm so glad. And also, sorry, I forgot to mention who I am, just in case anybody here is new to my page. My name is Meenakshi. I'm the founder of the Ayurveda Nest. I am an Ayurveda nutrition and lifestyle consultant, and I'm also a face yoga teacher. So yeah, I think without further ado, let's get stuck in. I mean, we have got such a jam-packed session planned here. We've got so much to talk about. Ayurvedic hair care, internal and external, because I think that is the answer. That's where we need to go. And we're going to be talking about, most importantly, when we're talking about internally, is the gut health and the connection that has to hair health. Now, Dr. Deepa, I think we and you both know the crucial connection between hair care and gut health, right? We know this, but I think this is still something that we need to spread, because even today, when I talk to my clients about this, um, they there's still like a bit of a blank, a blank look of this connection. It's still not well known enough. So I'm so glad that we're getting the opportunity to talk about this. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about some of the causes of hair care imbalances. So that's really important to really dive deep into what is causing this, and it's affecting so many people, men and women, and unfortunately even children. So this is something that's really important for us to address, and how to identify hair issues even before they've presented themselves. So clues, signs that our bodies are giving us all the time. We're going to be touching on those as well to really help our viewers to understand this. And obviously, in the end, we're going to talk about ways to address these imbalances as well. And then we're going to finish by talking about Dr. Deepa's brand new Ayurvedic hair care kit, which I'm so excited about sharing, because I've been using most of these products for years, but I'm so glad that you are putting this out there for so many other people to benefit from now. So I can't wait to get into talk about that. So one thing I will request is if everyone can just hold onto their questions. Dr. Deepa will be so kindly addressing everyone's questions at the end. And that will give us the opportunity to really dive in and not be distracted by the questions. Dr. Deepa, are you going to be switching off the comment?
If I can. It's not letting me do it. So, and so as and when people ask questions, we can just tell them, just ask at the end.
That's fine.
Would be okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Okay. So to start with, right, we're going to be talking about the connection between gut health and hair health. And like we talked about before, this is one of the most crucial factors when it comes to hair care. Now, I'm sure I can speak for you when I say this, but for me, if I ever notice any changes in my hair, if my hair starts shedding or anything, first thing I think about is what's going on with my agony. Immediately, I have to. I don't think about what products I've been using or anything like that. My immediate thought, to be completely honest, is what's going on with my agony, because that's where the root cause is going to lie. So, Dr. Deepa, I'm just going to hand over to you now. In your amazing way, please elaborate on this, and how it's so crucial that our gut is the place where all these imbalances start.
Okay, yeah. First of all, thank you for inviting me. And it's from my platform, but we know why. But thanks a lot for this live chat or this kind of collab. Now, before I start talking about Agni or gut health itself, one very important thing for us to remember is that, see, we live in that world of, if you want to call it Kalyug or age of darkness, so to speak. But yet, even through that, all the Vedic sciences have said that everything that happens for a reason. So never doubt that. So from that point of view, you will see that nowadays, in this age, this era, looking good, how a person looks or appears has become so much important. Like once upon a time, even if you went 100 years ago, looks would not have been as important as to how old or how young someone looks or how the hair is and everything. And rightly so, because yes, we are in the age of Kali Yuga. But then talking about looks itself, you'll see that the whole world, be it kids, adults, older people, men, women, everyone's lives revolve around three important aspects or factors, and that is hair, skin, and nails. And interestingly, the biggest industry that you will see out there is that of hair, skin, and nails. Even on a high street, you might have 2-3 different hair parlors, skin parlors, or nail parlors, and yet they're always busy. On one hand, people will look into it and say, you know what, oh, that is so vain, that is so kind of, superficial. Actually, it is not, because the way we look is how it defines our confidence and how we are able to communicate with people. Absolutely. Nowadays, something a lot of people suffer from is something called as skin anxiety and hair anxiety, meaning people don't leave home because they are so conscious of how they look because of either their skin or their hair. The reason why I'm putting this out there is because on one hand, yes, people say, oh, so what? Hair is so kind of superficial, skin is so superficial. Actually, it is not. It is an inherent part of our everyday well-being and also mental health. That's the first thing I need to put out there so that people understand why we are doing this live chat. It's just not about how good a person looks, but through that hair health, then that will also define or determine how good or not good their mental well-being also is. So that's first thing out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I just add on that, Dr. Deepa, it's yes, all the things that you said, but then our hair condition is a reflection of our internal health. So that is also a clue. So in addition to what you said, the mental health and the well-being, it is also an indication that if you are losing a lot of hair, if you are having any scalp conditions, then there is an internal issue that needs to be addressed. So it's, yeah, absolutely. What you say is absolutely spot on.
Yeah. So from there now coming to, because you're talking about gut health. Now in Ayurveda, again, there's a saying that our whole life revolves around a digestive fire, that is Agni. But then even more so, it is not the whole of the digestive fire or Agni itself, which lives in the stomach and the small intestine region. Ayurveda also says that approximately 85% of all illnesses and diseases that we suffer from arise from the gut. Now, when I say gut, I literally mean the large intestine or colon. And likewise, even for hair health, you will see that as a consultant, when you do consultations, especially for people suffering from hair loss, they will most likely suffer from constipation than anything else. So if there is constipation, that is the first thing that needs to be corrected or looked at or targeted or approached. Because now why? Because people will be like, what's the big connection? So if you were to go one step further into the whole Ayurvedic science, for us, bones as a tissue is very important. So asti dhatu, as we say.
Yeah.
But then not many people know that bone is a primary tissue, but then the three secondary kind of parts that arise from bone as tissue are hair, then teeth, and then nails. But then I'm focusing more on hair. Why again hair? Because through bone metabolism, it is calcium metabolism. And being a medical doctor, I know not many, probably even Ayurvedic doctors know about it, but coming from that medical background, you will see that calcium absorption takes place through our gut or large intestine. Very, very important to remember. And calcium is needed for hair health, bone health, teeth health, and even nail health. So it is all of it put together.
Yeah.
Which means understanding why gut is so important. I'm literally only focusing on hair and nothing else.
Yes.
So bearing that in mind, you will see that so both ways, if someone's suffering from constipation, but on the other hand is also chronic diarrhea, loose stools, or sometimes even dysentery, meaning both sides is not good, meaning too much dryness and too much heat will lead to hair loss or hair related conditions, because in both these ways, calcium is not being absorbed from the gut. When there is constipation, it's literally like I say, roundabout, like when there is a big if there is a car that is broken down on a roundabout, then other cars will not move. So there is no kind of movements. That means everything gets back. It's like that backlog. Same thing with the gut also. When there is constipation, all that stool is stuck in the gut. Nothing is moving forward, and hence there is no new calcium absorption, which affects hair health. So first of all, correct constipation, but it's the same thing the other way around. Let's say you are on this motorway where all the cars are going at 70 miles an hour and no car is allowed to stop on the motorway. So it's literally that way, meaning when there's too much dysentery, loose stools, diarrhea, everything just flushes through the large intestine. There is no proper slow movement, which gives the gut that kind of moment to absorb calcium back into the system. So through gut, the reason I'm saying gut, but bear in mind, just not focusing on gut itself, but through that, the other important thing is calcium. So I do understand, and I'm kind of jumping away, but then this is very important to remember that a lot of people who suddenly go vegan will suffer from hair loss because they've suddenly stopped maybe meat or especially milk or ghee, buttermilk. So sudden change, again, which is again gut related. Again, there's no proper calcium kind of nourishment for the body, and that may also lead to hair loss. So putting it in some very simple terms, when we talk about gut health, focus on either constipation or diarrhea. If that is the case, that needs to be corrected, because excess heat will also lead to hair loss, and excess coldness and dryness will also lead to hair loss. So that is about it. Literally just 2 points. I can talk a lot about gut health and hair loss, but I know we've got a lot others to cover, but focus. If anything like that, that is important. Now, bearing that in mind, people may ask, so what is the right stool elimination? So Ayurveda says that when you have had a good night's sleep, maybe 8 hours, 7 hours, as soon as you wake up in the morning, yes, you may have had some hot water, something hot to drink, but then within the first 30, 40 minutes, maximum 1 hour, person needs to pass stools. And passing of that stool has to be such where it is soft. Literally, we say banana-like or sausage-like. It should not be pellet-like or dry, or a person should not see food particles in stools. Whenever this other ways, that means there's something going wrong, and that needs to be corrected then and there. Otherwise, there may be hair loss. So yes, so healthy stool elimination. So that itself is a sign of healthy gut. It's not just about how strong a person's appetite is or how strong they feel that digestive fire. No, because again, how do we understand the strength of digestive fire? By looking into stool elimination. Just by looking into the pattern, we know what kind of digestion it may be. So once again, going back to the stools.
Yeah, excellent. So many important points. I'm so glad that we've started off and kicked off with that one, because that is the most important. And you've added the calcium element to that as well, which I hope is going to help so many people now. And I think it just will just shift people's perspective on what's going on. And I hope this helps so many people. So thank you so much for shedding light on that, Dr. Deepa. I know we can go on and on to talk about this topic, and maybe we can do that in the future because
And
you're right.
exactly.
You're right. It just goes deeper and deeper and deeper. But I think for our viewers as well, I think without to avoid to overwhelm them too much, I think this is absolutely
That is
perfect.
true.
Um, so let's just go on to why this is happening now, right? Okay, so you've explained what's happening. The gut's really important. Why? What are the causes of all this happening? So you've explained. I think you've touched upon it already. You know, of course, the poor digestion and the link you've explained really well. From the Ayurvedic perspective, we know when the doshas are imbalanced. We know when stress is impacting the individual. We even know when the seasonal changes happen, it's going to impact hair. So I'm going to hand over to you again now in your amazing way. Can you please elaborate on these points and let's talk about the causes of them, why this is happening?
See, the causes of hair loss may be physiological or pathological, meaning some of the causes are natural and we can't do anything about it, but the more important one is to look into where causes can be corrected. So yes, seasonal changes. So yes, coming spring, summertime, when the weather is different, people will usually say, oh yes, my hair looks great. But come autumn time, suddenly that vata has entered into the body or into the environment. And hence people start observing hair loss start of course, I say autumn or fall time where weather starts getting cold, it gets dry, it gets windy, it gets light. And so that is a more physiological kind of cost factor of hair loss.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that just because it is happening in autumn time, or we can't do anything about it, so you just sit back. No, that is when we talk about prevention and things that you would do in spring and summertime to then help prevent hair loss in autumn time or winter time. But do understand that is a cyclical change, which is natural.
Natural.
That's
Yeah.
the first one. But then the more important ones now are to understand the more abnormal causes, like pathology, more looking into
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, fortunately, unfortunately, whichever way people want to look at it, there has been an excess of or increase of heat or dry heat in all our bodies nowadays.
Yeah.
And that is one of the most important cost factor of hair loss.
Yeah.
Do understand whenever we look into hair loss, people are always looking into, oh, I need to reduce vata, I need to reduce vata. That is not correct. Because hair loss, when you look into advanced kind of Ayurvedic practice, hair loss can be vata related, pitta, or even kapha related. It can be tridoshic, it can be external causes. So cost factors may be varied. But from the point of view of from this life chat understanding, dry heat in the body. Why is dry heat increasing is first of all environmental. When I say environmental, I do mean natural environment. Yes, we're going through that whole global warming change. Unfortunately, yes, we can do a lot over there, but me as an individual standing over here, I can't do much. So I'm looking into my own artificial environment, the kind of environment that I live in, what I do every day, and all of that. So kind of going a bit back and forth, you will also see that people who complain of excess or sudden hair loss, they always feel hot, they are dry, but they do not sweat. So sweating is a very important bit because it is only through sweating the body is releasing that excess dry heat or heat from the body.
Yeah.
So sweating, again, when we look into remedies, sweating is one of those that actually helps with hair health. So again, so another cost factor is looking into it. You can look into its symptoms, or cost factor is people don't sweat. And why don't people sweat nowadays? Unfortunately, I know. If you see I'm moving around because I'm stood. During the day, until unless I'm not eating, that is the one time that I'll be sat down, or I'm doing something which, again, even when I'm doing my emails or everything, I'm always stood. Reason I've become very conscious and aware that the lifestyle such now is such as we're doing, things have become more online from home. We don't actually move too much. That lack of movement is also creating heat. And added to that is these external factors. Oh, I need to send this email. Oh, yeah, I need to do this. So everything's being accumulated. So lack of movement or activity or exercise. So again, these are the main cost of factors when you look into everyday lifestyle routine. But then now going back into food related cost of factors. I know we have moved into this world of global movement. And when I say global movement, it can be energetic, it can be spiritual, but I'm even talking about physical movement where people move away from their inherent lands. Like, for example, me, I'm Indian. I was born, brought up in India, but I first moved to Germany. Now I moved over here. And that movement, through that movement, the kind of foods that I used to eat, I don't eat anymore. or I tend to eat wrong types of foods in the wrong season because I'm Indian. I'm thinking, oh my God, the mango season. So it is yet still summer hot over here. Back in India, our mango season is from March, April, May. That is it. Only 3 times. I mean, 3 months. Come June, when it starts raining, we do not eat mangoes. That is how it is. And this is where I'm talking about global movement too. But around that time from India, then mangoes exported out over here. India summer, it is still spring, it is still raining, it is damp, it is humid, it is windy. And in that environment, because of my nostalgic moments back in India, I'm sat over there, 2, 3 mangoes in March or April. I'm enjoying it, I'm eating it. But that is not the right time because mangoes are to be eaten only when it is hot and humid out there. You can't eat mangoes when it is wet, it is raining, it is windy, it is cloudy, it is cold. So I'm sure you must know, or many Indians know, that in India, the moment the monsoons hit the ground, that first set of rains, mango that would have been 100 rupees per mango, the price drops down to 1 rupee per mango. It literally changes because things are followed. So in that, we're also understanding that eating foods based on your environment, your desha, or your geography. So again, eating according to your season or based on, as we say, body type, constitution. But very important is never to go into too much extreme. That is where people once again go wrong. I get clients saying, oh yes, I want to follow Ayurveda or I want to do an Ayurvedic detox. And the moment someone says Ayurvedic detox or cleanse, people always think about khichdi. And they're like, oh yes, I'm going to do a 7-day khichdi detox. Yes, they've done it. I'm not saying that they have not prepared the khichdi rightly or anything like that, but unfortunately they have not moved. No tummy massage, no sweating, nothing like that. Everything gets blocked. And eating rice every day for 7 days will lead them to constipation or blockages or bloating. So understanding that, understanding how we eat food, because that then reflects, as you said, in our hair health, in our skin health, or even in our attitudes.
Yeah.
So the other bit is food and becoming more mindful of when you are eating what.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll stop over here in terms of cost of factors because again, I'm conscious of
Because
time.
of time now, so I could just listen to you talking because it's just such wisdom, and also I hate using this phrase so much, but it is just common sense.
Yeah.
It's like when we tune into our wisdom, we know what we should be eating, what we shouldn't be doing. And I say this all the time. You can even food. There's a lot of focus on food again with my clients too. They just want recipe after recipe after recipe,
No, I
and I
know.
say sometimes, yeah, and they think the more recipes I have, the better I'll be able to do this. And that's actually not true at all. You can eat just steamed veg and you can keep your foods very simple. But again, if you're not doing all the other things, if you're not eating on time, if you're not
Exactly.
keeping good gaps between your meals so that your food is able to be digested properly, going back to the gut again, and you're feeling hungry again. So monitor your hunger. Your hunger. No one even pays attention to the hunger anymore. So
Mhm.
if you're eating in a stressful environment, if you're in the office and you're quickly gulping it down and you're not mindful, it's not going to digest properly. So
Sure.
all these things, again, I can go on and on and on too. But those things aren't being monitored and looked after. Then again, food, you could be eating the most sattvic diet, exactly like you said, and it's not going to have
And it won't
the
help.
desired
But
benefit.
that's the
Yeah.
thing,
So
people just take things in too much extreme and
yeah,
life. I always tell all my students, this is what I've learned from my mom, who was my most important teacher, and my Ayurvedic professor, that we live life only once. Every moment going by will never come back. So yes, do everything to make sure you live healthily, but we need to enjoy life too. You can't go into extremes where, especially, see, you and me, we come from that Indian origin, Indian background. So let's say our genetic DNA or memories such as we can have rice maybe 4 times a week, but our body will digest that rice because our DNA holds that memory. But someone who doesn't come from our kind of ethnic background, who's never had rice, and if I were to tell them, no, go on a khichdi cleanse for 7 days, the body is going to fight because like, no, but I'm not used to it. This is not the kind of food that my DNA memory remembers. So why are you forcing me to eat something that
yeah,
my body won't accept?
yeah, exactly. I'm so glad that we're talking about this because, again, let's get it out there. Ayurveda is not eating khichdi, and it's. I think this still. I can't believe I'm still saying this because it's not. It's so much more. It's how we're eating, when we're eating, like I said, it's all the other factors. You could be eating you should be eating your native diet. Everybody should be eating their native diet. That is Ayurveda. Ayurveda doesn't say you eat Indian food. It's,
Mm.
and
So,
when you eat your native diet, you're digesting it well, but you're doing all the other factors that I mentioned before around it. You're in a winning situation. So
mm.
so glad we're having this
Yeah.
conversation.
One thing I will
So
also but say there, when I say native, see, native diet doesn't have to be, let's say, someone who comes here from Thailand and China eating too much of Chinese and Thai food all the time won't help. Diet has to be according to our desha where we live. So
yes,
literally over
yes,
here, that
yes,
bit
yes,
is
yes,
more important
yes, of
because
course.
those places are hot and humid. People sweat a lot. That's the reason why a place like India, rice is their kind of staple food because we sweat it out. We need that carbohydrate kind of like support. But out
Yeah,
here, depending upon season, like now it's hot, yes, I'll eat rice. But when it starts getting cold, I might change it a bit. Or even when I'm eating rice, I might add some ajwain seeds to it, or I might add some cumin seeds to it to make it lighter. So again, as
yes.
you say, becoming more mindful and aware of the kind of food that they eat. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, and I think you're absolutely right. It's looking at the properties of the food. So
Yeah.
what is it heating? Is it cooling? Is it drying? Is it, and looking at the environment outside. I always say, if you want a clue as to what you should be eating, just look out the window. You don't
Yeah. No.
need to ask. Once you understand this knowledge, I understand that people might have to work with a consultant, with a practitioner to get there. But once you want to have that knowledge and you understand that, it's all you need to do is look out the window, see what the weather's like, and eat according to that. And
Absolutely.
yeah, like increases like in Ayurveda. So absolutely, yeah, brilliant point you made there. Um, just moving on again, mindful of the time, so it's going to move on to the next point. So how to identify issues before they even come, before they're even presented. So the hair loss is the sort of the end result. How
Yeah.
can people start spotting these clues and signs in their body
Yeah.
that we know extremely well, but let's share this. Let's not gatekeep. Let's just tell everybody what should they be looking for.
Okay. First of all, as I already mentioned, if there is any kind of stool kind of abnormalities like constipation or diarrhea, first of all, if that is the case, then start working on it, correcting that. So that's the first thing. Another very important thing is that yes, someone may have really nice, beautiful hair, but one of the most other important sign is then sleep. If there is sleep disturbance now or it is continued, it is chronic, then later on it will affect hair health. So that is another thing, like, it's like we say premonitory symptoms. So if you are not sleeping well for a week, 10 days or something like that, then come in 3 weeks time, they'll start observing hair loss. So the
Yeah,
other bit is sleep, so
yeah,
understanding the sleep side of it. But
yeah,
another very important bit is now eyes. The reason why I focus more on eyes is because it is through the eyes that we actually absorb a lot of heat into the body. But then once again, eyes are messengers that give out all the information. So when people say that my eyes hurt, there's pressure behind the eyes, my eyes are burning or anything like that, that is also an indirect sign that later on they may start suffering from pitta related hair loss. Why? Because our eyes are nothing but an extension of the brain through the optic nerve, which is actually indicating that there is excess heat in the brain. Then
yeah,
through that, through the meninges and anything like that, then that heat may get translated or transferred into hair roots, hair follicles, and
yeah,
might change it. But then, of course, when you say heat in the brain, which shows that there's excess heat overall in the body.
yeah,
So the other bit is eyes. So understanding eye health is very important. So
yeah,
when I get a lot of clients with hair loss as presentation, I give them all eye-related suggestions to do, and they're amazing. Like, but I've come with hair loss. Why are you giving me eye-related protocols to follow? And I tell them, in India, there is a saying, enjoy the mangoes, don't worry where they came from. So just do your eye exercises, everything now. And in 3 weeks' time, 4 weeks' time, you will thank me because you'll see why it worked.
yeah,
So, yes, so first of all, sleep, then constipation or diarrhea, then eye-related changes, eye health, that is another bit to bear in mind. Now, another bit is looking into nails. Meaning, if people suddenly see, oh, there are ridges in the nails have become a bit brittle or weak, then that is again another sign that hair health may get kind of, affected in the future. And last but very important bit is joints or bones. If people start complaining of generalized bone aches, bone pains, or weakness or cracking of the joints, or dryness in the joints, that is also another premonitory sign or symptom that it may affect hair health. So these are some of the everyday things that people can focus on to understand,
yeah,
how it affects hair health. But of course,
yeah,
as you said, stress. But then stress
yeah,
is more like a causative factor. But these are
yeah,
more looking into signs and symptoms that the body is giving out.
yeah. Fantastic. You mentioned some brilliant points there, Dr. Deepa, and I want to go back to two actually. on the sleep and the hair. Sleep first. Again, you and I both know the recommended sleep varies person to person, but on average, we're told 8 hours sleep. Now, people think if they go to bed at midnight, wake up at 8 o'clock, they've had their 8 hours sleep, I'm sleeping fine. We both know this is not correct. There is very, very important that we sleep by a certain time, which is 10 p.m. I'm going to hand over to you now. Can you please explain what of that between 10 p.m. and 2 p.m., that timing, we need to be asleep and how that's going to affect our hair health?
Of course, yes. As you said, yeah, 10 hours. It's not just 8 hours. People may sleep 7 hours, 6 hours,
Yeah.
depending upon their body type, constitution, or even 10 hours.
Yeah.
But then the time that they go to sleep, as you've said, around 10:30 is important because that is when the liver time begins. So when we say liver time, it's just not about going to sleep at 10 p.m. So taking a few steps back, that means that we should actually be having a dinner at 6 p.m. You need to leave at least 3 or 4 hours by the time you've had your last meal, by the time you go to sleep, because the food needs to have moved down or must have gone through the Jatara Agni digestion, should have gone through the liver-related digestive files digestion, gone through the pancreatic level digestion. So there are certain levels of digestion that the food needs to go through before we go to sleep. So first of all is that, and if I've eaten late, that means that time may get pushed back. So that is not good because the stomach cannot be full when we go to sleep. That is very important. Reason being, when the food starts getting digested and come 10 p.m., that food digestion has now moved to the liver section of digestion, where there are 5 digestive files in the liver. That is where it has moved to. And while the liver is digesting food, we need to be asleep because liver is also a pitta or like a heat related digestive file, it kind of increases heat. But at the same time, when we are awake, when we are moving, when we are active, we are also increasing heat in the body. So while we are awake, that heat and with the liver heat, when combined together, then leads to excess heat in the body. And therefore, it's not just about hair health. People who sleep, in fact, I tell everyone, whatever we do today is not for what we're doing for the here and now. Everything that I'm doing today is actually going to be affecting or show the results in 10 years' time, in 15 years' time. So it's no point telling, oh, no, but I've been doing it for the last 2 years. I've not seen any changes, so I'm sure it should be okay. I tell them, no, you're not seeing any changes now, but come in 7 or 8 years' time, you will see the changes. So same thing with all of this too, especially for people who go to bed late. Yeah. Or eating late, going to bed late, it actually affects the cardiovascular system. And they are the kind of people then who end up suffering from cardiac arrests, anginas, strokes later on in life.
Yeah.
So, of course, hair health, I'm just talking about it, but it's all, of course, kind of connected. So people who go to sleep late now in their pitta phase of life, in their 30s, 40s, or even 50s, but mostly 30s and 40s, come 10, 12 years' time, they will definitely have either high blood pressure, tendency towards cardiovascular problems. We say atherosclerosis, arteriosclerosis, but likewise hair health. It all affects.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's so important that, again, so we're going back to, it's not just about eating a certain food or having a certain herb or even products. It's a holistic science. This is what Ayurveda is. People need to understand this, and we have to look at all of it if we really want to enjoy it. Good health, good hair, everything, And going back to the eye care. Now, you've mentioned a really, really good point there, the heat in the eyes. Again, something that I personally do is I love putting rose water on cotton and sort of lying down, keeping it on my eyes, and I can instantly feel the body just cooling down. Anything else that you can suggest for our viewers to help with the eye sort of heat element?
First of all, eye exercises, they're very, very important because it is only through movement. You will see when you start moving your eyes up and down, side to side, all eye exercises, then that also leads to the watering of the eyes. So I usually say that when I physically exercise, the body's sweating. So when I do eye exercises, if my eyes start watering, it's like sweating of the eye, so to speak, but it is getting rid of the heat. So eye exercises, but along with that, something else that also really is good is if people have time is Tratak meditation, that is candlelight meditation. Because again, through that, it helps to get rid of all the heat, but then it also helps to calm down the brain. But very important is the endocrine system, because it is actually the endocrine system when it gets excessively hot or overactive, when excess heat is then produced in the body, which may lead to hair loss too. So eye exercises and candlelight meditation. And I know we can't talk in depth about it at the moment, but once we finish this live chat, I'll put on my stories, the links to eye exercises and candlelight meditation, just a quick description so that they understand what it is.
Yeah,
But
that'd be
those are
really, really
very
useful.
simple things.
Yeah.
And when doing that, it actually also, they also have to get rid of stress along with the rose water. Once you've gotten rid of stress, excess heat, and calm down the brain and the endocrine system, then that automatically helps with nourishing of the hair follicles and therefore hair health.
Amazing. Yeah. I think people, going to be blown away by all these connections that we're making today. And I think it's going to, I'm sure would be, yes, it's going to be so new to so many people. So it's knowledge that's so gratefully received. Thank you so much. And regarding, so the last sort of part of this segment before we move on, ways of addressing. So I'm going to just hand straight over to you. From food, herbs, lifestyle, I think we've already covered quite a lot in ways to address this at the level that we can do on this live. I know we go into a lot more detail with our clients on a one-to-one, but anything else that you can sort of touch upon, anything else that we can add on to help our viewers to address these issues?
Now, see, this is the beauty of living in India, growing up in India and studying or being in an Ayurvedic environment. Growing up, I remember my parents, my mum and my aunts and uncles, we took it as, it is a very superstitious belief, but it has got a scientific explanation, is that the saying when that if you were to wash your hair, when your hair is, scalp is dry, you're going to be bringing a lot of ill luck or bad luck to you. Meaning we always needed to first apply oil into the scalp, massage it in, and then wash our hair. This is also medically makes a lot of sense because when the scalp is dry and when I put warm water, hot water, it increases heat. Because what are hair follicles? Hair follicles are nothing but the ends of the hair. It is with sebaceous secretion, and that is what goes into the root. Any excess heat from outside is actually literally melting out that secretion and it kind of becomes loose and hence hair loss. So literally that is one of the reasons why people with excess heat suffer from hair loss. So the more hot water you put on your scalp all the time, or when they have washed their hair every day, these things don't help because ultimately you are weakening the base, that kind of foundation of hair, which is the hair follicles. So one simple thing is just application of hair oil, any kind of oil, literally leave it on for 10-15 minutes because that oil works like a kind of a film or protective layer on the scalp. So when hot water kind of touches the scalp, it's not that heating. So that is one very simple thing that people can do in terms of just not preventing hair loss, but also helping new hair grow. Yeah. The other important bit is you will see that our lives are such, we are always stood upright or stood up, so to speak, with our head up all the time. And we're always, let me give you a comparison. Once upon a time, all our lives were more physical manual labor. We did things. We walked up the stairs, down the stairs. We bent down to pick up things. Yeah. We went to the door to do things. It was all physical activity.
Yeah.
Through that physical activity, a lot of blood circulation used to go to the head and neck region too.
Yeah.
Nowadays, in fact, I was talking to a few of my friends and they're like, oh yes, as soon as I wake up in the next 10 minutes in front of my screen, I do not have my picture there and I start working. And I'm thinking that is so unhealthy because as soon as I wake up, the mind has become so active. That movement is creating dryness and heat.
Yeah.
And that's also what is leading to hair loss. So looking into ways of moving that circulation to the head and neck region. And two very simple things, if people are used to doing yoga, then doing shoulder stands or inverted poses. Or if they have any low back problems and if they can't do anything like that, then literally lying down on the floor, not on the sofa or anything like that because of health and safety reasons, but on the floor, but legs up against the wall so that the legs are up from the hip region. Because then that ensures that all the circulation is drained down, goes to the head and neck region. There is circulation, there is drainage. So in that way, you're also increasing circulation to the head and neck region. So two very simple things. And both these things actually help towards anti-aging. And both these things actually help towards memory retention because along with hair loss, a lot of people even at the age of 20, 30 are talking about hair loss. But interestingly, another presentation, I remember 5-6 years, I did tell a lot of my students when I was teaching, even over the last 2 years, that one of the most common presentation or illness that will become quite prevalent is memory loss, dementia, and Alzheimer's. And if you see, that is exactly what is happening now. more and more people are coming around. And when I do consultations, half of their thing is, I'm suffering from brain fog. I can't remember. I can't focus. All of these are premonitory symptoms of maybe Alzheimer's later on or memory loss. But these two suggestions, are especially legs up against the wall, will actually also help prevent any memory loss, but memory retention. So again, anti-aging. So it helps with hair health, but overall with health too.
That's great. And just to add to that, even just the act of massaging the oil into our hair, if nothing, and if nothing else, when we are doing that, we are bringing circulation to the scalp in that massage, and
Yeah.
so yeah, just in the act itself, you're just doing so much good. And in fact,
Mm.
also they can take that further. Even when we do Abhyanga, like again, me and you both know Abhyanga, I always tell my clients, if they say, what's your most anti-aging advice, I say Abhyanga, because when we are doing that, we are bringing circulation to our body, and naturally that's going to our head everywhere. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
some brilliant points there. um that's great. So I think the first sort of segment of gosh, I'm just looking at the time. Okay. I knew this was going to happen. When we both can talk for England, so I knew I knew this was going to happen. But
You can
let's
talk
move
for
on.
England. I will talk for India.
Yeah, oh yes, of course. Sorry. And on
I'm
that,
joking.
happy Indian Independence Day to everyone. I just had to say that out there because what a day to be doing this live. But part two, the your Ayurvedic hair care kit, which I'm so excited to talk about. Let's just dive into that now. Now, these products, like I said, I've been personally been using them for years, which is why I was so excited to do this live too, because I just want to shut them up the rooftops. To go straight in, the first one we want to talk about is the Brahmi Amla hair oil. Now, this is something that like you said, I never wash my hair without putting the oil in my hair first. Never. I mean, it has to be something like a really emergent situation where I need to have a quick, yeah, it's very rare. Otherwise, I will never wash my hair without it, as you say, and I can clearly see, I can experience the benefits of that. Brahmi Amla, these herbs are so fantastic. Me and you again both know the benefits of them. I'm going to hand over to you to explain these in more detail, but I just want to let people know that my hair care routine, I probably wash my hair maybe twice a week, not more than that. And I put the oil in beforehand. When I put the oil in, it's like a ritual for me. I love it. I warm that oil up. I've got my John V. Harrison playing in the background, and I create a calming environment. I do my massage, and for me, gosh, this is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't need to be complicated. It really doesn't. That's how simple it is. I don't need to go anywhere to get this treatment done. I don't need to pay anyone. It's all in the comfort of my own home. It's, apart from buying the oil, it's free. And it's even my family, my kids, my husband, they know if they hear John V. Harrison, they know, oh, Mama's probably doing her some massage, leave her alone. So it's just a given in our house now, that it's understood, leave her alone, it's her moment. So it's such a sacred ritual for me. And I want to hand over to you now to please explain in your own words the principles behind this product. How does it work?
Yeah. See, Brahmi Amla oil is a combination of two important herbs. One is Brahmi and the other one is Amla. Now, I usually, to explain to my clients, I say B for Brahmi, B for brain. That's the best way of remembering that. Meaning through that, Brahmi is one of those very beautiful herbs. It has got very good anti-aging properties, but it helps to get rid of excess heat from the body. It has got anti-inflammatory effects, not just in terms of hair health or scalp, but overall, everywhere in the body. And Brahmi has got very good de-stressing or stress-reducing properties or heat-reducing properties. But then on the other hand, Amla, as we all know, is the Indian berry and it's the most famous one. Amla is very, very, very high in vitamin C. The saying goes that one berry of amla contains approximately 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C, literally. That means it is quite high. Amla is one of those fruits that if you were to try and bite into it, you can't because it is that sour. Interestingly, though, even though it is that sour and that, like sour tasting fruit, yet it helps to reduce pitta or heat in the body. And we talk about something called as prabhava. So that is a special effect of amla that even though it is very sour, it is pitta or reducing or anti-inflammatory, but vitamin C excess. So in combination, Brahmi and Amla is first of all very good to help get rid of excess heat from the nervous system, the endocrine system, and lastly the immune system. So overall, Brahmi Amla oil, when we use for scalp massage, it helps to literally thicken that sebaceous secretion that goes into the hair follicle, cools down the body, gets rid of excess heat. So something as simple as that. And yes, applying this oil, into the scalp. Of course, you can apply to the hair too. I'm not saying no, but scalp is more important because that is where everything is happening. And leave it on for 10-15 minutes if they want to, and then to wash it off. But Brahmi Amla oil, do bear in mind, it's just not for scalp or hair. It can be used for the whole body too. So whenever someone were to be experiencing any kind of heat-related changes, inflammatory changes, or just in general for anti-aging. When I do Ayurvedic pregnancy massages, I usually always use Brahmi Amla oil. So even if it is newborn baby massage, it is always Brahmi Amla oil because it is one of the safest oils to use for everyone.
Amazing. That's great. And again, just to reiterate the fact that it doesn't need to be complicated. People think I need to leave my oil in for hours and hours. Oh no, this is too much. I've got to go out. I'm not going to do it. I literally leave my hair, like you said, between 15 minutes and half an hour. I do it first thing in the morning just to get it out of the way. And I wash my hair, and I do it on a day where I can let my hair dry naturally. I don't have to go out, but I get it done in the morning. I've got my whole day ahead of me. You don't have to leave it in for a long time. In fact, I'd love your take on this. In fact, sometimes I don't recommend that my clients leave it in overnight. I know in India it is practice to leave it in overnight, but in here, this country, it's a cold country. It's a cold
that is what I
environment.
usually tell everyone. People think that what is followed in India, you can follow here, you can't. So, and especially in this environment, washing it off is important too because weathers out here, especially countries like this, they change so quickly. Likewise, the circulation changes, the drainage changes. So leaving it on for maybe 1 or 2 hours, couple of hours, as you say, in the morning is best, but then to wash it off is quite essential.
It's very essential, absolutely. And I've even noticed people who don't, when they come to me, the client comes to me, I'll sometimes say, do you have any sort of sinus issues or blockages or things like that we know can cause cough? And they're like, actually, yeah. So the minute they stop leaving it overnight and they just do it for like maybe 15, 20 minutes, half an hour even, and they wash it off, they start noticing improvements in their sinus. So that's something really important for people to know because, again, going back to that brilliant point you made, we are in a different country now. And we have to follow environment. So brilliant. The next one is the Ayurveda hair mask. I love this hair mask. I again used it for years. I'm just going to go straight on to you. We're short of time. Please tell us about the ingredients in it. You've got some brilliant ingredients in it. They work really well. Please tell us.
Yep. The ingredients of this Ayurvedic hair mask are, of course, some important herbs like Triphala, Brahmi, Ashwagandha, Neem. Now, overall, the combination of ingredients are such as it goes. Again, this is very good for hair health, but getting rid of that excess heat, inflammation, but nourishment. That is important. And I'm very grateful to everyone, even lately when people use one of my cousins from back in India, when she was visiting here, I gave her 2-3 packs as a gift. She went to India, she tried it, she couldn't believe it. He said from first use to the other time, her hair loss had literally reduced by almost 50%, even up to the point that she started giving it to all her cousins and friends in India. And she messaged me saying, can't you just sell this product over here? It is one of the best products I've ever come across. I'm like, it is Ayurvedic, so it works. Now, the thing about the Ayurvedic hair mask is such that as you do it, like the mask is taken just always to mix a bit with the Brahmi Amla oil or any kind of oil, make it like a thin paste. But very important is to leave it into the scalp, not to the hair. So literally the way we apply henna, it is literally that. In fact, I've had so many of my clients also ask that, do you put henna in it? Because my hair color is also changing. It is going darker. I was like, no, it doesn't have any henna, but it has that effect. So, yes. So, and if someone is suffering from severe hair loss, then every time, maybe once a week, but then to leave it on for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then to wash it off. And the beauty of this hair mask is it just does not help with hair health. This hair mask is also very good for people suffering from anxiety, palpitations, nervousness, really helps to improve sleep, helps to calm down the body, very good for any women going through perimenopausal changes because it brings changes over there too. Because it literally you're working through the nervous system of Vata in the body, so we are moving things in the body accordingly.
Yeah, brilliant. And you make a really good point. I want to make something really clear. When it comes to Ayurveda and herbs, people always seem to think they need to take them internally, digestible. We need to think outside the box here. When we apply them on our body, when we apply them on our hair and our skin, they are still having such a profound impact. Please believe this, it's true. It doesn't need to be just taken internally. So that's something
Mm.
that's, just again, just people, if they can just understand that concept. And
Yeah.
people who are hesitant sometimes of trying herbs internally. And we know that there are, people who are not quite sure, apply them externally, put the oils
Yeah.
on your body, put them all in your hair. You'll still get the benefit.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely brilliant point. The moving on to the part of the kit is the golden ghee with turmeric. Again, we both know ghee, what it has for the digestion. It's just nectar. I'm going to hand over to you very quickly. Please explain the principles behind that.
See, both when the golden ghee that I'm selling now, of course, it is like medicated ghee with turmeric. Now, interestingly, for hair health, both turmeric and ghee are two essential ingredients or herbs or oils, like foods. Turmeric is one of those herbs that actually helps to strengthen the bone tissue or asti dhatu. So people, and even otherwise, if you're suffering from hair loss, just take turmeric every day. But then just taking turmeric on its own may not help. So taking it with ghee first thing in the morning. So it's usually 1/4 teaspoonful of this golden ghee or turmeric. The way I've made it in such a way, it actually tastes really good too, because when I first did the trial runs of making it, and I gave it to some of my family friends and some students to try, and they're like, Dr. Deepa, we can't believe it. It tastes much better than the normal ghee too. And they asked, can you just put it into cooking? Can we use this instead of the normal ghee? I was like, yeah, you can. That's not a problem at all. But yeah, first thing in the morning, the reason why first thing in the morning to help correct hair loss is because our gut is empty for 8 hours. So whatever we eat or drink first thing in the morning gets absorbed ASAP. And that's the reason why, if anyone suffering from severe illnesses, we always say take certain herbs on empty stomach. Empty stomach being in the morning, not like after, during the day or later in the evening.
Yeah.
And the ghee then helps to absorb this turmeric into all the tissues, especially bone
Yes.
tissue,
Yeah.
even circulation into the hair.
Yeah.
So, and everyone, in fact, I've got a few of my clients during pregnancy also, they were taking the turmeric ghee, but then after that they stopped for a bit and they're like, I've stopped it. I can see the change. I need to go back on it because it is one of the best things. Because just not for the hair, it's very good for skin,
Yes.
for overall health. It is good for
Yes.
all of that too, but it's good for hair too.
Amazing, amazing. And again, I could go on and on and on and on about ghee and the impact. Again, go back to the gut, the
Yeah,
benefits it has. Then in turn, again,
that's
affecting our
all.
skin and everything else. But again, we're looking at the clock, so we'll move on. Root
Yeah.
Rasina. Now, your Root Rasina is so exciting. This is actually new for me, so I think this is a new product. I've never used it before, but I can't wait, and I want to hear all about it. Please go ahead.
Yeah, root rasayana, of course, that is the modern term that I've used for that particular herb kind of combination. Root, as you know, roots, and rasayana is anti-aging or nourishing. So it is a combination of various herbs, for example, like triphala or turmeric or brahmi. So it comes in capsule form and it has got some neem also. Not too
Yeah,
much, but little neem, because neem is also needed for hair health.
yeah,
Now, the whole combination, and another important one is ashwagandha. The reason why I've also included ashwagandha is especially for people past 30, 40 years old when they suffer from not just hair health. Hair loss can be endocrine related, it can be nervous system related, it can be stress related. And ashwagandha is one of those really good, if you want to call it an adaptogen or stress reducing herb, but it actually helps to bring changes in the body. The beauty about ashwagandha also is that it has got natural iron in it. So a lot of times hair loss is because of anemia or loss of iron from the body. So it works on all levels. And along with that, the other herbs, all in combination, will also give that tiny amount, maybe not a lot, but calcium to the body, then selenium to the body, vitamin C. So it is working on all the natural kind of supplements also.
yeah,
And this, because it comes in capsule forms, like 500 milligram capsule can be had one capsule 2 times a day, because that's the best. So 2 capsules every day can
yeah,
be any time during the day, morning, afternoon, evening. But if they want to see best results is morning time, because by the time I've had the capsule, the herbs get digested. By the time I go to sleep, it has gone into the bloodstream rather than working overnight. So
okay,
it's not even, I'm really excited about it, because the way the hair care kit is, there's a combination of external and internal rather than
yes,
just one or the other. Because
yeah,
that is what Ayurveda talks about, Sankhya philosophy of duality. So when there is an outside, there will be an inside. When there is a high, there will always be a down. So whenever I look into suggesting things, it is not just for the inside or the outside. It has to be both.
amazing. That's fantastic. Now we've covered the hair care kit. One question I think is important for us to clarify. are there any contraindications for all the products you mentioned? There might be different ones for different ones, but if we can talk about the oils, and if you can mention the contraindication to anyone that may not suit, and also if you can just please touch for me children and adults. Like what can children take these? Up to what age would you say,
Yeah.
etc. If you could just clarify that, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
To be honest, Brahmi oil can be used for massage throughout. So there's no contraindication over there. Then
Great.
coming to, from there, we talked about the hair mask. Yes, hair mask as such, because it is external application, can be used in the teenage phase, even during pregnancy, not a problem, or postnatal, or even during perimenopausal changes. So it's one of that combination. As for hair mask external, it is good for everyone. So that's not a problem at all. Coming to the turmeric ghee, again, because we give ghee even to newborn babies, there's a part of a panchamrit kind of suggestion. And so again, there are no contraindications for turmeric ghee. In fact, when taken as 1/4 teaspoonful on empty stomach, followed with ginger lemon tea every morning, it actually helps to even regulate cholesterol levels, because one of the indications for cholesterol is combination of turmeric and ghee, but 1/4 teaspoonful, not a lot. So even if people were to be worried about cholesterol, just to be aware that it is not contraindicated because of that combination and when you take it. And of course, turmeric ghee has been taken during pregnancy too. So that is not a problem too. Coming to the herb capsule root rasana, the way I've designed the whole capsule, even the proportion of herbs, ashwagandha, more than ashwagandha, bearing in mind neem. The neem proportion in that root rasana is very, very little, because that is the one herb that we need to be mindful of if someone is suffering from constipation or anything like that. So the way I've designed it is that and that's the reason why there is triphala in it. Because even if there is constipation or any excess heat, triphala then kind of negates the effects of herbs like ashwagandha or neem, but I've added turmeric to it. So once again, so there is a good balance. So, but one thing about the root rasana, I would say, because pregnancy is a special phase. During that time, except for some certain herbs, we don't talk about anything else. So they don't need to take this herb combination during pregnancy, because the body knows, how to nourish the hair. But postnatally, if they're suffering from hair loss, then they can take the root rasana herb.
Yeah, perfect. No, thank you so much for clarifying that. There are a few things that I would like to just tell people about what I generally do, but I'm looking at the clock. So should we open the floor to questions? I don't want to keep people waiting any longer. And then in between the questions, I can just quickly add in anything that I want to add in. So please, everyone, if you have any questions for Dr. Deepa on anything that we've discussed today, on any of the products, quickly, how can people get hold of these products?
Oh, yeah. It's easy just to get onto my website, dr-deepa.com. And if they look for Ayurvedic hair care kit, so the product will come up. So just go and search. And it's my website, dr-deepa.com.
Yeah, when this is uploaded, we'll make sure all this information is in the caption so people can be directed straight to your website and buy these amazing products. So yeah, so also I thought it would be quite useful to me quickly, just a few more things that we haven't covered that I just make sure I do subconsciously on a day-to-day basis. Number one is I never tie my hair back tightly. Right.
Very good.
Yeah, something that everybody does without even realizing. And even my daughter, she's so young, she has great hair, but I'm still telling her all the time. I'm always looking how tight has she tied her hair. I'm pulling it out, loosening it. Yeah, because we're pulling it from the roots.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You see that the Indian way for girls to put was they used to put a what do you call it?
Plait the hair really
downwards.
loosely.
They would never be on top.
Yes.
So because that movement needs to go downwards, never up, because then that pulls the hair roots and may lead to hair loss.
Absolutely.
And such people later on may also suffer from migraines, headaches, and everything too.
Yeah, just simple. I see so many girls, even women our age, put their hair back in a tight ponytail, and you can actually physically see the impact of it. So really, really important one for people to know. Second one thing I do is
very quickly, Meera, there are two questions over here.
Yes.
I'm just going to go through.
Yes, sorry,
any recommendations to reverse graying? Yes, absolutely. To help reverse graying of hair, first of all, make sure that you have more alkaline foods. So things like coconut water, buttermilk, as I've talked about just now, the golden key, that is also really good, or the hair mask. One of the things about the hair mask was I introduced it initially during lockdown time. And a lot of my clients and my students started using hair masks during lockdown, when all the hairdressers were shut down. And when they went back to the hairdressers first time, the hairdressers were actually surprised that the gray hair was up, and from the root, the natural hair color started growing again. And they're like, I've never seen this before. So the hair mask really helps to prevent and also, in a way, reverse graying of hair. But yes, focusing more on cooling foods and try the hair mask and the turmeric tea. Those are really good to again help with graying of hair. And there's one more question, just one moment. Any suggestions for thyroid issues with hair loss? Yes, actually, there are many suggestions for for anyone suffering from that combination of thyroid and hair loss. But do understand what I'm telling now is very gentle. For such kind of medical presentations, best is to do an Ayurvedic consultation because that is where it will help. But then if it is thyroid issue, I need to know if it is overactive or underactive thyroid, because both hyper and hypothyroidism leads to hair loss. So based on that, hair related recommendations or thyroid related recommendations may also change. But then just overall to make sure that stools, that like stool elimination is normal. Very important both ways is that sweating is regulated, especially with underactive thyroid. The more you focus on sweating of the body, it will also help regulate hair health. But then there are certain herbs that will also help. But one of the best herbs, which anyone and everyone can use, is Triphala. Start off with Triphala every evening. That will really help. But for any other herb suggestions, best is that if you contact us, because then I can let you know specifically what will help, because sometimes a consultation may be needed for that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the
Okay,
head.
those are the two questions.
Yeah, anything else? Any other questions come in?
No, that's it.
No,
Those
that's
are
it. Great. Yeah. So just going back to what I was saying. So I think one was the hair, tying the hair back. Second one is when I wash my hair, oil it, wash it, I try as much as I can. I know this is hard to let it dry naturally. Not, I have personally seen such a massive difference when I've stopped blow drying my hair. So I let it dry naturally. Now I'm not going to lie. I do run a straightener through my hair sometimes. I'm guilty of that. I'm not going to, I've got to be transparent here and say that. But what I do is I only do that sparingly, maybe once or twice a week. Or if I'm coming on here, like if I'm going somewhere, I might run a straightener through my hair. Otherwise, I let it dry naturally. That has changed not only the hair fall and the texture, but just the volume. It's so much.
yeah.
As soon as I just stop blow drying it, so if you can avoid it, please wash your hair on a day where you don't need to just wait for the next few hours. You can allow it to dry at home.
One thing over there I will anyway say is this natural drying of hair, especially in weather like this, we need to be very mindful of weather. Yes, the heating may be on at home, but anyone with any sinus congestion or any heaviness or anything like that, sometimes they may need to, I'm not saying completely blow dry, but they may need to dry their hair earlier, faster
Oh yes,
than
yes, of
leave it
course,
on.
yeah,
That
yeah,
one thing we need to bear in mind. But
yeah,
if they're in a house or environment where it is relatively warm or hot, yeah, that's the best.
yeah,
Or as you said, for such plants, what I would say is hold on to the hair, just hold it onto the side and just blow dry the lower bits.
yes,
But the
yes,
upper bit, the hair on top are such where because of the heat of the scalp will naturally
yeah,
dry. But
yeah,
then just do kind of, this bit,
yeah,
just to kind of blow dry there
yeah,
rather than going
yeah.
into the scalp.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I can honestly promise, people do this, they will
Someone
notice such a big difference. Yeah, go ahead.
Someone has asked, what do you apply for frizzy hair? See, frizzy hair is literally dryness in the body. So for that, it is quite important that you oil your hair on a more regular basis. Very important. But the other bit is also make your body sweat. When the body sweats, that sweat comes up into the scalp also, and that also makes your hair more kind of, soft, no more kind of, it's not dry anymore. So
Yeah,
two things is regular oiling of hair is very important down to the kind of, tips and everything. But then sweating. And
yeah,
then having turmeric and ghee on empty stomach every morning, that also really helps with frizzy hair.
yeah, absolutely, definitely. And again, I don't know if you'd agree, I would go a bit further and say also diet. Just be a bit mindful of your diet. Like, what kind of foods are you eating? Are you eating very drying foods? Is there moisture in your diet? Because I certainly notice a difference
Mm,
in my hair when
absolutely. That
when I'm
does make a big difference.
absolutely warm, moist foods. We want that climate to remain that way. And so when we're eating those foods, it does tend to manifest in
Absolutely.
our skin and our hair as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think
Any other
no more questions yet.
no more
I'm
questions? Yeah.
mindful of time, so
Yes, yes, absolutely. So I think yeah, that's it. I think one I was going to say I like to use a neem comb. I think using a neem comb as opposed to plastic combs are really good generally for hair. They don't create that static and I also use a silk pillowcase to sleep on. I find the friction of the hair is much smoother when I sleep on a silk pillowcase. But I think we're gonna, I think we're gonna have to end it there because time is
Many
going
agree.
over. Any last thoughts from you, Dr. Deepa? Anything you'd like to?
Nothing. To be honest, see, when it comes to hair health, it's very important that not to get too stressed about just because you've seen